It was only last night that I was reminded, and I dead set couldn't remember it, but the rugby league season this year on Fox, and we've done the first and all the way through to the finish. We kicked off on February 16. It was a Thursday night at Belmore, Canterbury v Melbourne. We finish our season November
10.
10?
November 10.
So we're just under 1 week shy of a 9-month rugby league season. Boy, oh boy, there's a lot of football in that, a lot of calling. I thought the end was fantastic. The cauldron-like sea of red and white. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, it's an Australian test, but boy, did it light it up at CommBank, Tonga making the final. I don't know. I don't know. Australia, New Zealand, I don't think wouldn't have got the same. It was quite a day at CommBank.
Did the Pacific Championships exceed your expectations, Andrew? They did mine. They did mine.
I suppose they did, yeah.
When I think back to the highlights, the sellout crowds, I didn't have, at the end of a really long season, I didn't have great expectations for what we were about to see, but I thought the players lifted sensationally. The fans responded with huge crowds around the Pacific, in Brisbane, in New Zealand, in Australia. And yesterday, Iron Bronco on the text line very early. Morning, Immortals. That might be a little bit high. I've been to NBA playoffs, Champions League matches, grand finals and State of Origin games. And without doubt, yesterday's atmosphere surpassed them all. It was a shame the game was only 80 minutes. The Tongan crowd were kind and respectful, and I wasn't worried for the safety of my 4-year-old son after they'd lost. So there you go, Iron Bronco. Thank you. He painted quite the picture, and yeah. I thought it was, I suppose, beautifully incongruous that we've got players running into each other with venom and embroiled in this brutal sport, but they're singing hymns in the stands, Andrew, and it's coming through the television set. It's fantastic.
Certainly watching rugby league daytime track fast. Even there was a lovely little moment when Zach Lomax was lining up a kick, he had to swat away a fly. I thought, we don't see that for much. No. We don't see that during the rugby league season. We had to worry about flies. But there were some amazing attacking moments in the Pacific Championship final for the men's, as there were in the women's. You called the women's, I called the men's. But out of the men's match, and blokes like Dearden and Trebojevic and Hamaso combining was really good to watch. He's just one of the highlights from yesterday.
He's been tremendous, the Australian fullback. Dearden, an example of Australia making a lot of territory. Dearden, Tom Trebojevic, see you later. Tom Trebojevic over for the Kangaroos. I'll say it again, halftime can't come quick enough for the Tongans.
How good was Tom Trebojevic? How good was Tommy yesterday?
I will never not love International Rugby League when, Trebojevic, Manly, Hamaso, Dolphins, Dearden, Cowboys, Edwards, Panthers. They get together and they wear the green and gold jersey. Loved it. You called the Gillaroos.
Yes.
Very impressive.
Absolutely.
Very impressive getting the job done.
Their first half particularly, they were just on song. They looked like a team that had meshed. They were really good, the Gillaroos. So they go through unbeaten, and at one point there, it looked like they wouldn't concede a point in the entire tournament, having beaten Papua New Guinea easily, then having beaten New Zealand 14-0. It took the Kiwi Ferns 138 minutes out of 140 to score their only points against the Australians in the tournament.
So my question on back of the dates, and by the way, then New Zealand was pretty amazing. Casey McLean on debut got called up late to replace an injured Will Warbrick. So at 18 years of age, called into the New Zealand side and scores 4 tries in the last ever match we see of Shaun Johnson. In fact, have we got some Casey McLean? We've got the Johnson. This is a moment. Johnson is 34. Casey McLean is 18. And this moment in the second half of the match.
Johnson kick. Johnson. Here comes McLean. A star is born in a black and white jersey. The oldest player on the field kicks for the youngest. That is quite amazing.
And it was. And he gets 4. So that was a moment. So New Zealand beat Papua New Guinea, just ran away with it, and qualified for the main draw of the Pacific Championship next year alongside Tonga and Samoa.
But for the Kiwis, Kinney 300 run metres plus. You were following that count during the call. Shaun Johnson, I want to talk about SJ. 5 try assists. Casey McLean, you mentioned 4 tries. So Shaun Johnson, I'm watching that thinking, this is it. This is it for Shaun. This is it. Yeah. Or is it? Or is
that right?
Or
You've
is
thrown
it?
in a little. Have you really? Have you thrown a? Is it?
No, I think it
I
is.
think
I think it is.
Yeah?
But, gee, there'd be clubs looking at their halves stocks and thinking, oh, I wonder whether, wouldn't it be good just to be able to call on Shaun if required in 2025? And what an asset he would be to any club, be it the Warriors, where we expect him to stay and help mould the next generation of stars. Should it be an expansion club in New Zealand? Imagine if he got some consulting role to drop into the Gold Coast and help the likes of Keano Kinney and others coming through the ranks. So Shaun Johnson's star in retirement surely will continue to rise, given the way he has entered retirement and what he can offer the game, not just the Australian clubs, but anyone across the league.
All right, now we get to the Wallabies and the Joseph Suaalii era, although they better sort out how they're going to pronounce his name, because they're not going with Suaalii, not to worry. The Wallabies win is quite amazing. Twickenham, Max Jorgensen, the last try, just a beautiful moment as well, just fantastic. Do you want to run at me about Suaalii? I just will make a statement, because it's been good argy-bargy, even it's made the Telegraph today, the whole lot of it. I just hope this doesn't disappoint any of you, but my opinion remains 100% unchanged. Whether Joseph dropped 5 balls, missed 5 tackles, or scored 5 tries, my opinion is the national jersey of any sport has to be earned. And I will stand by the colourful language of the steak knives thrown in. Joseph Suaalii worked hard, got his contract, and we all said, fantastic. How could you knock that back? Like, it's Christmas Day times 10, the money he's getting. He had to go. And we wish him nothing but the best. And no one has said anything negative about Joseph personally or his ability on this program. We've questioned whether he was going to be a superstar in rugby league or not, but that's just open debate. But I stand by, and you can run at me and give it your best shot. The Australian jersey needs to be earned. If that is the business model, and that's a cliche, but if that's the business model Australian Rugby Union want to run off, that you just come in, we pay you a big money, and you go jettison straight into the starting side, good luck to you. But I will never subscribe to that, and that goes for rugby league, netball, basketball, whatever.
So 488 at 6:02. I thought it was 5:58. It was 6:02. Dear Mr. Voss, apology accepted. Love, Joseph Suaalii. You're not apologising. You're not apologising, are you?
Why would there be an apology?
And you had a bit of banter with Angus Crichton over the weekend,
with Angus
didn't you?
Crichton. Well,
on social media.
Yes, it did. Yeah, it did. And I couldn't help myself. I said, good luck this afternoon, Angus, playing for Australia. You've earned your spot. So I had to throw that in. But I still stand by the original point, earn the jersey. Now, if that's how they want to run, and Joseph, fine. I was a little surprised with the man of the match, I must admit, having watched the highlights now, and only found him touching the ball 6 times, and 3 of them were batbacks off kicks. But anyway, that's by the by. That means nothing. I mean, rugby, you can never compare rugby union play-by-play stats with a rugby league game, because like the dearest and sincerest rugby league fan is going to say, what? He made 1 run for 5 metres. That's right. He made 1 run in the match for 5 metres. You know, he made a couple of tackles. You know, it's nothing like a winger in rugby league being able to run for 20 carries and make, 300 metres. They're different games. So totally different what you get assessed by.
So I admire you for taking a stand and sticking with it, but I have a totally different opinion. It's horses for courses. Rugby Australia, the Wallabies weren't going that well, Andrew. We know how much they were struggling. They've signed a bloke who played for the Australian schoolboys, went into the rugby league arena and delivered, then because of a massive offer, jumped to the Wallabies. So has he not earned that jersey by everything he's done as an athlete? And then when he arrived as a Wallaby, Joe Schmidt, who we'll hear from shortly, said that he didn't put a foot wrong. In fact, he amazed the Wallabies coach with his application, with his dedication. So given you have spent $1.6 million on a gifted athlete who has played rugby before and has stunned you in his preparation for this test, how could you have left him out of the team? He doesn't cheapen the jersey. The jersey's now worth $1.6 million. And there'll be a bloke who is signed, no doubt, down the track who doesn't have the pedigree or the background of Joseph Suaalii, and they say, no, mate, you've got to earn your stripes a bit more yet. Go and play a bit of Super Rugby. Go and battle it out in club rugby. Do something to show us that you are worthy of the green and gold of Australia. But right now, Joseph Suaalii, because of the situation, because of his background, he had to be brought straight in.
Couldn't-
If you buy a sports car, do you let it sit in the garage? Just get used to the garage. Just get used to it. I'm going to take the Camry out to Bathurst for a run this weekend. No, you drive the sports car straight away. You take it straight away. And he is a sports car. And they had to get him out of the garage.
Couldn't disagree more. but it's the way you're raised. It's the way if you dream it, you can achieve it. You work hard. You know what I mean? Like that's just me. You don't.
But then
you don't
isn't
sign
that,
the contract and then get the Australian jersey thrown
isn't
in.
that sort of cutting off
he
the nose
hasn't worked
to
hard
spite
in
your
rugby
face?
union at all. He hasn't worked hard in rugby union at all. He's done a few training sessions.
Well, but he's worked as hard as he can in rugby union since he
That's
arrived
why he
from
got the
rugby
big money.
league.
That's why he
Since
got the big
arrived
money.
from rugby
That's
league.
right. The contract was the reward. Then the Australian jerseys next. Matt Rogers, Wendell Saylor, Lottie Takiri, they all played Super Rugby before they got jettisoned into the Australian side, before they got picked.
Is it not somewhat ridiculous, though, to say, okay, we think you are the best person for that position. We think you will help us more in that position more than anyone else we can think of right now. But because we have to be made to be seen to be making athletes earn their jersey, sit this one out. Isn't that slightly ridiculous?
Yeah, I would have done. There's Australia A games over there. Anyway, the point I'll make in relation to the thing. Happy for Wallabies. Bloody oath. It's win at Twickenham. Haven't won there since, 2015. Record against England had been poor. To come out with a win, you fly in the face of poor old Wales. They've lost 10 straight tests. So fantastic. For Joseph himself, that he fitted in, fantastic. That's great. But I make the point again, whether today we're talking about him missing 5 tackles and dropping 5 balls, my point would be no different. I wouldn't be patting myself on the back or anything. I have an opinion on the national jersey. You have to earn it, and the performance has nothing to do with any impact on that statement.
And I feel, given the amount of time we've dedicated to Suaalii, we need to congratulate Max Jorgensen for that winning try, the Ikatau flick, absolutely delightful. Rob Valentini, Jeremy Williams, Angus Bell, Tom Wright, all outstanding. It's on to Wales at Cardiff next weekend as the Grand Slam Tour continues, Andrew.
Well, as I said, Wales have lost 10 straight, equal worst ever streak. They are begging for a beating. That is the Wallabies begging. I like that slogan, begging for a beating. If you want to come at us about Suaalii, the rugby league, it's all over, folks. The league season's officially finished. The cricket, get on the text line right now, 0457 736 736. And Maddie, do you need any help with Bryden's lawyer's phone number?
I certainly don't. It's 1-800-848-848. Unable to work due to injury or illness, contact Bryden's lawyers.